On today's show, every game from Monday reviewed. We've got Doss's Dimes, and he's well prepared for that. We discuss what's next for the Packers, and, of course, I give you the win total update because we've had some games. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Outback Quarterback Podcast for another week. And boys, I'm staring down the barrel of the camera because for the first time, we've got this show on YouTube in widescreen format.
Oh, well, the whole show will be on YouTube?
The whole show will be on YouTube. You like that?
Don't mind it.
The whole show was on YouTube last week, but it was in Instagram portrait format.
So you're going to go through and edit them all and put them together?
Yeah, well, I watched the whole thing and changed the camera. So this camera changed right now. I did that manually. And this camera changed right now to DOS. I did that manually too.
Oh,
so,
geez.
yeah.
That's a bit of work.
I know, but our 17 viewers will thank me for it. We are on YouTube, Outback QB Podcast. Make sure you do go there, have a look, subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications. That's right, isn't it, DOS?
100%.
And, of course, I am your QB3, Curtis DuBois. With me, QB2, Chris Hall. And QB1, Matt Maidman. Now, boys, we started right on the dot of our normal starting time tonight, but we were going to start an hour earlier.
Well, we weren't starting an hour early.
Were we?
I said to you, I'm going to come straight there and prep from 4 o'clock.
Did you say prep?
Yeah.
Did you say prep?
Pretty sure.
You didn't, I don't think.
I mean, it's fine.
Well, how else was I coming from work and straight here?
I thought you were like DOS, where you just
don't
do
work.
it during work.
Just do it during
I had the
work.
day off today.
I swear I said I was coming here to prep. I was going to come to yours at 4 and prep.
I really am just bringing this up to ask what the delay was, because I thought you were working nearby and coming straight here. Did you forget something?
I didn't go to work.
Oh.
I didn't go to that job. I did some stuff at home and then I drove around to a few jobs and then got home and prepped and thought I'll get there by 5 o'clock because that's when we were going to start.
Gotcha.
I'm just going to roll through
Yeah,
and find this.
you do that, DOS. Look, Hawley, DOS, we had another exciting day of Red Zone. It's back. Scott Hansen's back. He didn't leave us once. 7 hours, no toilet. He was on fire. He seemed even more fired up than normal.
I didn't say prep.
You didn't say prep. No,
I said I'd be here by 4. I figured you guys would know more than me.
But DOS, how did you go with the early wake up? You know, I was very surprised. Hawley was up before you.
He was.
And you had the day off.
Yeah, I had the day off, but didn't
I was
have
pumped.
Yeah.
I was going to set my alarm for 2:30, but I was I'll do the 4 o'clocker.
2:30 is crazy.
It is.
I'm
pretty crazy though.
You are. Yeah. Sorry, DOS, you were talking.
Oh, I'm just saying I didn't have the best night's sleep, but
that's no good.
But yeah, got up about 4:30, I think it was, or 4:40. And managed to join in just after halftime, I think, for most of the game. So
yeah, you pick up enough then, don't you? You can catch up on the stats at the halftime break when Hansen's running through the 8 scores, and you can just watch the rest.
I also figured I had the day off today, so I'd be able to I'd have time to recap during the day of what happened, and I think we'll do a pretty good job tonight covering off all the games.
Absolutely, we will. Now, for anybody who is new to this podcast, welcome. Firstly, we're having more people listen now than ever, which is fantastic. We go through every game. Every game. So all the games from yesterday, all the Red Zone games basically, and the Sunday Night Football game we'll go through. And the ones we don't do in this show, we cover on the Outback QB Daily show. So that's another podcast, a separate one for you to subscribe to. They're only 2 NFL shows you'll ever need in your life. But boys, the first thing we need to talk about today is the Packers, because they played on Saturday. We reviewed that on the Outback QB podcast. Votes were cast for the MVP. But DOS, we know now they've lost Jordan Love. And we were going to talk tonight what next for the Packers, because we thought, could they go Ryan Tannehill? Could they go Joe Flacco? Would they go elsewhere? Or are they sticking with Malik Willis? Now, the answer has come out, and they are sticking with Malik Willis, apparently. Now, as a Packers man, firstly, can you believe it? Secondly, what does the next month look like?
I was talking to a couple of guys during the game, and the turf was horrendous. And I said... during the game, I said, all I want is to get out of this game without a severe injury, because the field was worse than MetLife. I can MetLife Stadium, but this was next level.
MetLife was copping strays last week.
This was next level bad.
Yeah,
it was
bad.
Really appalling. Now, Malik Willis, look.
3 starts.
3 starts.
1 win.
Yeah.
No touchdowns. 3 interceptions. That's his career.
Yeah. And
Hasn't thrown a touchdown.
Not
look,
looking
and
good, Doss.
the Packers are bullish on Jordan Love that it will be closer to the 3-week than what it will be 6 weeks.
Of course they are, because Malik Willis is the backup. They have to remain
Yeah.
positive.
Did they say what was the actual injury? The diagnosis?
MCL.
It was an MCL.
Strained MCL.
So he's back in 3 weeks from an MCL.
Well, no surgery.
Yeah, a lot of they don't have surgery. Usually they just sit in a brace for like 2 months.
So
Or 3 weeks.
Or not even 3 weeks, because if you're not taking the brace off and walking straight on the field.
3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, interesting.
So
I'm a professional in the
you're a physio.
medical industry.
Well,
so.
look, when you've been injured as much as
The one thing
you
I haven't
have,
done is an MCL. So
You haven't had too many knee injuries, have you?
No.
No, that's my domain, Doss. I can
Yeah,
chip in
you
there. Anyway, sorry. We're talking Packers being devoid of hope.
Devoid of hope. I was flat though.
I bet
you
you
know, that was. But this is probably best case scenario. Really, it did look like an ACL, and it certainly saw something popped in the knee when you watch the slow mo footage. It didn't look good. Jalen Carter grabbed the ankle, and the foot sort of planted and got twisted, and yeah, it wasn't great. Packers, I'm sure, are ringing around like you mentioned, Kurt. On to see who was available. I would say they're doing their due diligence on Ryan Tannehill, Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston maybe for a month. But I can't see either of those teams giving up. The Packers will have to trade for them, except for Winston. I think is Winston still on the Browns quarterback roster? So they'd have to trade obviously for one of these players. But man, I think there's enough there on offense and defense where they could scrape a win or two. They're home to the Colts.
Yep.
They're away at Tennessee, and then they're home to the Vikings.
Yeah, and that's assuming it's only 3 weeks. I mean, I reckon they go 1-2 there.
If it's
1
1
win, 2
and 2
losses.
yeah.
But then they've also got the Rams and the Cardinals and the Texans. Like if it is 6 weeks, the season's done.
Oh no,
So
that's
that's
it.
almost
If it's 6 weeks, the
0-6,
season's
isn't it?
done.
Yeah.
Because they're already 0-1. And if they're 1 or 2 wins after 7 weeks, they can't come back from that.
I think you can get a wild card from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go back and
Are
have
they
a
that
look.
good though? Are they that good to come back and have an almost perfect record
Oh, I think
after
the
love?
I think the Packers are. Yeah.
Are they?
They'd have to
I
knock
think
off
so.
Niners, the Dolphins, and the Lions twice when Jordan Love comes back. You're pretty confident on that?
I love that Doss is still confident. I thought he would
Very
be as
confident.
flat as a tack today. but
Look, it largely depends on how many they can win. If they can get 2 with Love out, I think there's still a chance to make the wild card in the NFC. And we saw that they really should have won that game against the Eagles.
Oh yeah,
You know,
many missed opportunities.
the three turnovers, but 2 of them in the red zone, and to only come away with a field goal out of it.
Yeah.
You know, that's unacceptable. The defense showed up to play. Look, I think there's enough there. But again, because the Packers play the Titans or the Colts this week, and obviously Flacco's backing up Richardson in Indy, and then Tannehill is back up to Will Levis, and the way Will Levis played today, and see how Will Levis goes next week. Ryan Tannehill might be given the starter's role for week 3 against Green Bay. So
Tannehill's not there anymore.
isn't he?
No, he's free agent.
Is he a free agent now? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was.
He just very quietly exited.
I thought he was still backing up in.
Now the depth chart is
Tennessee.
Levis and Rudolph. I'm certain Ryan Tannehill is just a free agent these days. Let me just double.
Oh, so with the, okay.
Yeah, he's a free agent.
Oh,
Ryan Timothy Tannehill III is a free agent.
so he may just be able to sign him as a
Just scoop
free
him up.
agent then.
Yeah, when you say due diligence, they're doing their due diligence. Like, well, this guy's been in the league for 10 years. I'm sure you guys know him. Do you want him or not? Yes or no? That's the question.
Yeah.
I'd take Ryan over Malik Willis.
Oh, I would too.
All right,
Very.
we'll see what happens. Sorry to start the show on such a negative, Doss, but we've got some game run-throughs in a sec. Remember this song?
Oh, yeah.
Certainly do.
That means we're going through all the games. All right, where do we start? Now, Doss, you haven't got as many as normal, so I've just staggered you in the middle there.
That's fine.
Um,
How many do you have, Dos?
4.
I got 4.
oh, what have I got? We're about to find out. I start with the Titans at the Bears. The Bears won at 24-17, and the Caleb Williams era is off to a winning start, boys, in Chicago. The first number 1 pick.
Look at all his reactions.
What?
Big contribution from Caleb.
Yeah, he was
today.
good today.
Well, he held it together. He wasn't bad.
He was bad.
I wouldn't say he was bad.
I would say he's bad.
What was bad about him?
statistics.
Yes, exactly.
He
The
didn't throw it
statistics.
under
Did you watch?
100 yards.
Did you watch the game?
Most of it.
He wasn't terrible. There was
I
nothing
would say-
particularly bad. He
Well,
held
he
it.
was-
He didn't turn the ball over
He didn't.
in a week 1 win.
He
in his
wasn't
debut.
good.
No, he wasn't good, but
So what do
he
you
wasn't
call
bad. There's a thing called solid. There's a thing called okay.
Solid. Would you call that solid? 96 yards or whatever he had?
It's not about the numbers. It's about not turning it over and actually being a solid presence on the offense and allowing the other side of the ball to produce.
Okay, if you say so.
He didn't light it up, and the Bears defense played very well.
Yeah. Did I say he lit it up? I didn't say he
You
lit it
said
up.
it was solid.
Yes.
I don't think it was solid.
Okay. Well, anyway, he's the first number one
Wait, let's
pick.
put this on our vote. Put on a vote, Dos, on Instagram. Was Caleb Williams solid today?
All right, we'll do that. We will do that. Let me just make a little reminder. Actually, I don't need to remind myself because I'm going to watch this episode about 7 times before I put it on YouTube, so I'll just remember it then. Now, anyway, Hawley, he's the
Yep.
first number 1 draft pick to win in week 1 since when?
Oh, I know this.
Go.
Wouldn't have a
David
clue.
Carr,
In what?
2002.
Yes, for the Houston Texans. The older brother of Derek.
How did David Carr play?
91 yards, just slightly.
About
less.
the- about the
He was
same.
poor. He was poor.
Oh.
The threshold's about 92. However, I wrote in my notes, whilst Williams was solid, but threw just 93 yards, it was the Bears defense and special teams which got it done, boys. A 17-0 deficit DOS. They turned 24 straight points. Started with Jonathan Owens' touchdown after a blocked punt. Then Darrell Taylor and his strip sack just on fire. They got him from the Seahawks recently. Then Tyreek Stevenson pick 6 on one of the worst throws from you'll ever see. Just panicked and flicked it out underarm. And then Jalen Johnson. He showed that last year was no fluke. Another pick for him. So we noted in the offseason that was a big factor in the Bears season would be whether these mid-tier defensive players would step up. I'm not saying Johnson is. A few others like Javon Dexter, TJ Edwards, Stevenson, and they did today. So they got a win. They're on for the year. Votes Darrell Taylor 5, Tyreek Stevenson 4, Jalen Johnson 3, Cairo Santos 2, Tony Pollard 1. Holy,
Yes.
you had a look at the Broncos and the Seahawks. 26-20 Seahawks win. Started badly for Geno. A sack and a pick to begin with, but they
Started
turned
real
it
bad.
around.
You were
Wasn't it
calling
nice?
for Sam Howell after the
Get him
first
in,
drive.
get him
Did
in.
actually. You couldn't have been happier with the start if you were a Broncos fan. As you mentioned, a sack and interception to open the game, taking a 13-9 lead into the half on the back of 2 safeties.
Yeah,
I think
that was
Quag-
weird. There was
Quag-
almost a third as well.
It
Quag
wasn't
would have
far off.
been firing.
Yes.
The young fella would have been very happy with that start. Geno did look a little shaky, and Seattle needed to lift, which is exactly what they did. Kenny Walker was probably the driving factor on offense.
He was good.
A large chunk of his 109 total yards coming in the second half, obviously with that TD as well. Overall, Denver, Bo looked okay. I would say he was
Solid.
Yep.
A couple of bad decisions trying to force the ball, but Sean was happy with him in his press conference. I don't think he's going to say anything other than that. However, I'm not going to argue with Sean. If Sean's happy with Bo, then we're happy with Bo.
Are we happy with Bo? I'm not happy with Bo. He made some risky throws
I didn't
and
think
almost
it
turned
was-
it over 3 times.
I didn't think it was fantastic, but Sean.
It
backed
wasn't
him up.
preseason Bo Nix, but hey, it's his debut. So
Correct.
they're off to a winning start. The Seahawks,
How
the
good
Broncos
did that
are 0-1.
Seattle defense look with Mike McDonald in charge?
Oh, I know you'd be
Whoa.
frothing that, Dos.
They looked really good.
Well, speaking of a defense that looked good. Oh, you want to do
You want my
votes?
votes?
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
I'll do
do
my
votes very
votes.
quickly. Run through.
I gave Kenny the 5, Jonathan Cooper 4, Julian Love 3, Boyle Mafe.
Maffei.
Maffei 2, and Leonard Williams 1.
All right.
Defense.
Defense.
Pats 16, Bengals 10. Jared Mayo has pulled off a masterstroke, Dos. The Pats beat the slow-starting Bengals again.
Hawley's Pats. Cincy 7.5-point favourite at home, and they had 0 points at half time, fellas. Unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
That was
That
bad.
is horrendous.
That wasn't solid, Hawley.
Are they Pats good defense, or is Burrow just another slow start to the year?
This is just another Bengals sluggish start on offense. Jamar Chase, whether the contract discussion, that's still ongoing. Yeah, there was question whether he was going to play. He's hardly practiced. He had food poisoning before the game as well. T. Higgins didn't play.
As if he did.
T. Higgins didn't play, hamstring injury. And the Patriots O-line, who I expect to be pretty ordinary this year, they were good. They only allowed the 1 sack. So
Well done,
when
lads.
you-
Maybe
when you-
all that cash they paid Mike Onwenu in the offseason is starting to pay off.
Mate, they put 170 yards on him at
Yeah.
4.5 yards a carry. That's not just okay. That's better than solid.
Yeah, 39 for 170, but Cincy 16 carries at 70 rush yards.
Yeah, pathetic.
That's ordinary. Ramondre Stevenson, Hawley's quite a little sleeper. 25 carries, 121. Gerard Mayo, first win as head coach. And the the Patriots were all over Joe Burrow and that O-line. Sacked him 3 times. Hits, hurries. They were very nice. The Patriots defense showed up. Jacoby Brissett, again, like you mentioned, if you want to talk about Caleb Williams solid, so was Jacoby. Didn't turn it over. Looked okay.
Well done, Jacoby.
Yeah.
Did he get 5 votes?
He did not even get 1.
Okay, who got him?
Yeah, 3 for 120 yards.
Pass rusher for the Pats, Keon White, second year, 2.5 sacks, call it 3. 4 QB pressures and 1 forced fumble.
And I had him in my the week 1 juiceometer.
Juice up.
The juiceometer on the Outback QB Daily. He was mentioned. 2.5 sacks today, 1 in his whole rookie year.
He had 1 last year.
So he's flying.
Yeah.
He's on fire, the young fella. How did you find anyone else for votes in this game?
Yeah,
I'm
go
just looking at it.
go.
There is nobody.
Ramondre
yeah.
Stevenson.
Oh,
for
Stevenson,
4.
of course. Yep.
Kyle Duggar had the forced fumble on the goal line, which
Yep.
stopped a touchdown. So that
Two votes?
that was important. 3 votes.
Yeah.
2 votes for Bengals linebacker Logan Wilson.
Yeah, because he showed up. He was there, so that's 2. Yeah, who got 1?
And 1 vote
Because this guy was thinking about going to the game.
Patriots linebacker Juwan Bentley
Well done. Well done.
for his 12 tackles and half a sack.
Yeah, good on him.
All right, I had the Jags and the Dolphins. This was a little easier to get some votes for. It was a crucial fumble, though, from Travis Etienne, which turned the game around. He was 1 yard out from scoring. Paulie, you have him in fantasy, so that hurt you even more. Knocked clear by Dolphins safety Javon Holland. It was an absorbing game. It was a good game to watch. If he scored that, they would have been up 23-7. As it happened, turned it over, and then Tua hits Tyreek Hill on an 80-yard strike for a touchdown. And after being arrested pre-game, Tyreek just goes out and absolutely dominates. I wonder whether his traffic violation, he wasn't even driving, he was just running that fast that he set off the speed cameras, the cheater. Jason Sanders hit on a 52-yard field goal win, although he did utterly shank a 43.
He missed one earlier, though.
Shocker. But hey, he redeemed himself and he won the game for them. It's Tyreek Hill with 5 votes for his 7 receptions, 130 yards and a TD, followed by Tua, Trayvon Walker with 3 votes for his 2 sacks, Devon Achane, 100 yards at scrimmage, what a man, 1 vote for Javon Holland in his crucial game-turning strip
Waddle make
sack.
his way in there? Waddle didn't get a vote?
No, he was close.
Close.
Yeah.
Are we worried about Travis Etienne? Bigsby slowly.
Yeah, Chavarius Tank Bigsby was better than him
He
today.
looked a lot better than him
He
today,
did look a
didn't
lot better. He didn't make the crucial
Didn't
fumble, and when he
fumble.
had the ball, he was more productive.
He was.
So, yeah,
what happens there.
you should definitely be worried. Hawley,
Yep.
speaking of worries, your Atlanta Falcons, one of your pet teams, lost 18-10 to the Steelers. It was a shaky start from Cousins and co.
This wasn't the game I was expecting, or perhaps the game I was hoping for. I know my preview was that this was the game of the week for me, and it ended up, what was it, like 17-10 or something?
18-10.
18-10.
Yep. Justin Fields.
Pittsburgh, yes. Russ, being a late out, left the door open for Justin Fields to potentially kick Russ out of a job permanently if he played well enough and continues to play well enough. His game, it was...
Solid.
I'll say it was solid because
It was more solid than Caleb.
This is the definition of a solid
Okay,
game.
fair enough.
17 of 23 for 156, which is quite it's efficient. 57 yards on the ground. It all reads okay, but he just couldn't finish a drive.
No,
and TDs win games.
Apparently not. Chris Boswell's boot does.
They win games. This is just one game.
Oh, right. Sorry. But field goals win game.
Field goals win game.
Cool.
They aren't going to be able to rely on the golden boot of Chris Boswell every week. 6 of 6 with a long of 57 yards today. Curtis was very happy, Doss.
Very.
Atlanta, I would say a complete and utter disappointment. Kirk was rusty.
Like an annoyed parent.
To say the least. I'm not angry at them. I am disappointed in them. To say the least, maybe we needed to see some more of Kirk in preseason games.
Yeah.
Because he looked rusty today. He hasn't played all, or didn't play really at all, or much last year. I would have given him a little bit more time preseason just to get himself going. BR was solid. He had his highest ever touch tally with 23, which he had a couple of times last year as well. Turned them into 111 yards. And Kyle Pitts caught a TD. Good on him. We wanted to see something from Kyle this week, and in a pretty average offensive effort, he caught a TD.
This time a week ago, they were telling us Pitts was out with a hammy. Then the next day, they're like, oh, don't worry about it. He's
Yeah, that's
fine. And
right.
now he's scoring.
Mate, and Drake London, he didn't actually turn up today, so that was disappointing. But
What about Darnell Mooney? What did Darnell do on his
I didn't even look for Darnell Mooney statistics, Doss.
I tell you what, a guy named Donta Jackson got a pick, and that's significant because he's the guy they traded for Deontay Johnson to go to Carolina.
Yep.
So good start for Jackson. But who'd you give the votes to? And look, can I just say, Chris Boswell was 6 of 6 with a 57, a 56, and a 51. He didn't miss and scored all their points. So I would assume
He's in the 5.
he is the 5.
He's in the 5. I've gone TJ with.
What more could he do?
TJ Watt.
I've gone TJ with my 1. Watching the game, the eye test, his stats read well: a sack, 2 tackles were lost, 3 QB hits, fumble recovery, handy.
He was great.
But watching the game, he was a beast. He was the best player.
Fine, and Boswell for 4.
I'll give Boswell 4 if you want to give Boswell 4.
He's got to be.
Whatever you want, mate. They're your votes.
No, they're your votes. Who did you have for 4?
I've just got 5, and I was going to make it up as I go. But I'll give TJ the 5.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. It was a tough one. I'll give
All right, well, let's work on this during the week.
TJ 5, Boswell 4. I'll give Grady Jarrett 3.
Yeah,
then I'll give Bijan the 2, and George Pickens slips in there for 1.
Yeah, he got 90 yards, didn't he?
Yeah, 85. Six catches, 85 yards.
One better.
Yep.
Okay, when you said you're going to make it up, I thought you only had one name there. I
Oh,
didn't
no,
realize
I
you had
had
your
all
5
5
there.
I just wasn't sure in the exact order because, they all read a bit differently. It's
Yeah,
hard
of
to
course.
compare a
It is.
kicker, a defender, and a running back and a wide receiver.
I know I'm a champion for kickers, but I just look at it as like, what more could a kicker ever do than kick 6 of 6 and big ones and nail the game and score their only points? Like,
The thing for me with kickers is that they have to be given the opportunity. So then a kicker might only, have 3 kicks in a game, and he has 3 from 3.
sure, but a quarterback has to be given the opportunity to
He's
throw
always
and
gonna be
pass
given
as
the
well.
opportunity.
Well, not Tommy DeVito. He was allowed to throw the ball once. Remember, they didn't let him do it.
Fair point. But Boswell was good today. 6
And
from 6
that-
wins your games.
This is the other thing with the
game.
QB voting too, is that I think we need to sometimes temper that because they do have automatic opportunities. So they're always going to do some good things.
They'll
or
always
most,
have stats,
most
right?
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's tough. But hey, that's why we're experts. I had the Vikings at the Giants 28-6. Now we previewed this as a crucial game for 2 guys seeking redemption. That's Sam Darnold from Minnesota and his potentially final chance, and Daniel Jones as well. One guy had a great day, and that was Sam Darnold, and one guy was, as shaky and as bad as we thought, and that was Daniel Jones. 2 picks. One was just a shocker to Andrew Van Ginkel. Just threw it straight into him, 10 yards out on a little flat route, and he returned it for a pick 6. So for the Vikes, not only did Darnold look good, but Aaron Jones looked good, 94 yards and a touchdown. And like I said, Van Ginkel, he got that pick 6. He also got a sack, and he is a Viking. Like, look at him. He's a big dude with long blonde hair. He belongs at the Vikings, and he played like it today. The only downer was the ankle injury to Jordan Addison, so we'll see how serious that is. 5 votes. I got to give it to Darnold. He controlled the game. I know he had a pick, but he was very, very good, and he set them up for a win in a dominant performance. Van Ginkel with 4 votes. Aaron Jones for 3. Patrick Jones had 2 sacks. He gets 2 votes. And Harrison Smith, 6 tackles and a pick. He gets 1 vote, and he is the current pick leader, the most of active players with 35. It's a good
What
career.
about the Giants kit? Looked elite.
Looks sick, yeah.
awesome, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if there was one thing that you can be happy about as a Giants fan, is that they looked good.
I reckon Dayball would have gone into the sheds afterwards and said, boys,
We
tough
look
day,
good."
but gee, we looked good. And Daniel, your beard, you just look so good. I think sometimes people think if I grow a beard, maybe people will forget that I used to be bad when I was clean shaven, and it's like a turning
No.
point.
Daniel Jones is still bad, unfortunately.
He'll try just a moustache next week, and we'll see how we go. Dos, Cowboys at Browns now, mere hours before kickoff. Dak Prescott signed a 4-year, $240 million contract. The leader of average annual value now, $60 million. Ahead of Love and Burrow, who are on 55. And he then led his team with an okay performance over an insipid Deshaun Watson and the Browns.
Well, he led them over the opposition quarterback in Deshaun Watson, who, remember, signed $230 million guaranteed, and Dak is $231 million guaranteed. So just like
beat
So
him.
he
He
added
beat him
the mill
twice.
and then went out
Oh,
and beat
how
him.
do you
Okay.
feel about that?
I reckon he gave him a pity $1 million after the game just because he felt sorry for him.
But oh boy, the Browns on offense, man, that looks so bad. Watson couldn't make a play. He was sacked 6 times through 2 interceptions. Cowboys defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer had the defense dialed up. DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, they were on song today. And Deshaun Watson finished with a passer rating of 53.3. Only Will Levis, Bo Nix, Daniel Jones, and Bryce Young were worse than that. And what
53.3, that's
Pass
how
rate.
many $1,000 they're paying him per yard at the moment,
Yeah,
right?
that's about
Yeah.
that'd be right. And Deshaun Watson, the lowest EPA per play of any quarterback in week 1. And the Browns had 1 first down at halftime. And then they were down 20-3. They went down 27-3 when Kevontae Turpin on a 60-yard
Terps.
punt return.
Get on the Terps!
And Jerome Ford, this is how bad things were for the Browns. Jerome Ford, their running back, was their leading receiver with 6 receptions and 25 yards.
What about
Equal with Jerry Judy, your boy.
old Davo, Njoku? I'm just trying to look up, see how bad his injury is, but he's a big out if he's no good. Because he ended up being one of their main guys towards the end of the year last year.
He was, and Amari Cooper was really nowhere to be seen, unfortunately. So the Browns' defense that was number 1 a season ago, especially at home, they weren't horrific. It was just the fact that they had nothing going on offense and poor field position every time, and the Cowboys were just all over them. So the Cowboys, I went pretty heavy on defense for the votes. Linebacker Eric Kendricks gets 5. Kurt for his 9 tackles, 2 sacks, an interception, pass defended, and a stuff as well. 4 votes for DeMarcus Lawrence. He was big time. Couple sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and he forced a fumble. Micah Parsons was everywhere. 3 votes. Then I went 2 votes for kicker Brandon Aubrey.
Yes.
And 1 vote for Kevontae Turpin because he had a very good game on special teams. He had the punt return, but he actually had nearly 100 yards worth on special teams.
I don't know if you mentioned this. You probably did. I wasn't really listening because I was looking about Dave.
For David and Njoku.
High ankle sprain.
Yeah.
But they had 17 QB hits.
Yeah, they would smash
17?
They smashed him
Parsons
17
had 5.
times.
So Micah Part had 5 on his
Lawrence
own.
had 4.
Yeah.
That's
Gosh.
No wonder.
I mean, the
Deshaun-
Browns O-line is banged up. They got some injuries and some backups in there.
That's
at
a
the
lot.
moment.
But no wonder the
that's a
bloke
lot.
can't find a receiver. Every second, mate, he threw the ball 45 times. 17 of them, he's getting smashed.
All right, Raiders at Chargers. Hawley, you had that 22-10, a Chargers win. It was a defensive front and a starring role from J.K. Dobbins.
Yes.
Until he's injured next week.
Oh,
No,
yeah, Dobbo,
No,
don't
could
say
not.
that. Say, oh my
could not be
gosh.
happier for the bloke. I mean, he only had 10 carries. And
All he needs, mate.
hopefully, I know he'll share some load with Gus Edwards, but if he keeps playing like this, then he probably...
Is the best player to
Eventually-
ever play the game.
Yeah, he probably is. Hey, 10 carries, 136 yards in the TD. If he stays healthy, then the Chargers have themselves a genuine player.
Hey, he'll pass the Daniel Tomlinson for franchise.
This year.
Yes.
Herbert was tidy. I thought he was actually... His stats were but I thought he was tidy enough. He controlled the game. The run game, that's what I forgot to put the U in N before N and after R, and it kind of stuffed me up there. But the run
all right.
game, DOS, was solid behind debutant Joe Alt.
Yes.
How good was he?
He made my juice rankings too, the juiceometer.
He was nice today. And rookie Lad McConkey caught his first TD in a good enough 22-10 win over the Raiders. I actually thought Gardner threw the ball okay. They couldn't get anything going on the ground, and to be honest, they just never really looked like they were a threat. 3 turnovers in favor of the Chargers was probably a difference in the end. And the Raiders, they just don't have the firepower to make up for that kind of deficit. So they will need to really limit turnovers if they are going to want to win games this year, which will be a struggle. You want my 5? Do you want me to start from 1 and go up to 5?
Go on.
Okay, I'll start from 1. I gave Joe
Joel. Yep.
a vote. Poona Ford gave him 2. Khalil Mack gave him 3. Bosa gave him 4. Do we want to do it together?
Go on.
Gave
5
5 to
votes to
J.K.
J.K.
Dobbins.
Dobbins. Okay, we were on a different cadence there. We're
That's
going to
good.
sort that out.
Yeah, we're close enough.
Let's go with JK. What a man. I mean, that's just the perfect way to start the year. Speaking of perfect way to start the year, I watched the Panthers today. The Panthers at the Saints. I mean,
man, his first throw was an interception. Couldn't get worse.
We've got a lot of Panthers listeners and followers, Kurt, so go easy on them.
Everyone wants Bryce Young to be good.
I said it last week. I said I don't foresee good things, but I want them for him. In fact, I said I'd rather get punched in the face than see Bryce Young have another year like last year. And it started exactly that way. It was a worst case scenario, boys. They were just as bad, if not worse, than we remember. He threw 2 picks. He ran a touchdown in consolation late, but there's just no chemistry. There was 1 decent drive before halftime, but they were down 30-0 by that point. 30-0. Ended up with a 47-10 loss. But as for the Saints, I mean, they were professional. They beat up on a team that's clearly already mentally and talently wounded. Is talently a word? It is now. Because they've just got nothing. But Derek Carr was near perfect, 19 of 23, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that was mostly done in the first half, and then they just took the foot off the pedal. Even Jake Hayner got a throw.
Well, everyone that bought his rookie cards and got the order will be happy with Jake Hayner's getting
That's
some reps.
right. Yeah, he got one. He got
No,
one.
I don't have him. No, I don't have him.
No, I'm saying he got one throw.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not saying Doss has
I
one
thought
of
you
his
said
cards.
I've been sitting on eBay like Jake
Well,
Hayner searches today.
You will be now.
He went 0 from 1, but still had a higher passer rating than Bryce Young.
What was Bryce Young's passer rating?
32.8.
Yeah, it was very low.
Hayner was 39.6.
Wait, how do you go 0 from 1 and
Not
have
sure.
a 39?
I'm not sure.
That makes no sense to me. Surely it's
It
0.
has to be. It
Okay,
is what it is.
bizarre. Anyway, Carr was good. They took the foot off the pedal because they were up by 37 points. Alontae Taylor gave Bryce Young nightmares. He had 3 sacks. As for the votes, Derek Carr, almost a perfect game from him. 5 votes. Alontae Taylor with his 3 sacks got 4 votes. Blake Groupie, the kicker, 4 of 4 and a 57-yarder and 5 out of 5 extra points. Again, it's perfection, boys. That's 3 votes. Alvin Kamara, 110 and a TD, and Rashid Shaheed for his TD and some good returning as well.
Chris Olave wasn't really in the game at all.
We got the worried text from Hawley. Is he injured? What's happening?
Well,
You said that about 5 guys today.
I thought Jameer Gibbs was gone because Montgomery had 10 carries, Gibbs had 1, and I hadn't seen him in any of the plays because I was watching it, reading it, following it on my phone. So I thought he was possibly injured.
No, he's fine.
Yeah, but he was fine.
Just David Montgomery's a better player.
Well, he was much better.
No, he's very good today. We've got one more before we move on to Doss's Trivia, and we'll do the other 3 games later with a bit more detail. Hawley, you had a look at Commanders 20, beaten by the Bucks 37. The story was not Jaden Daniels' debut, rather Baker Mayfield's utter dominance.
Well, boys. Baker bloody Mayfield, eh?
We've never doubted him.
We asked him to deliver, and he bloody well delivered. What a game. 289 yards, 4 TDs. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, they were up to their old tricks with 144 yards and 3 TDs between them. Washington, they put up a fight, but it wasn't really enough to compete. And actually, before I move on, Bucky Irving, he looks smooth. He genuinely outplayed Rashad White on the ground. However, Rashad White did have 75 yards in the air, which will hold his spot. But Bucky, if you like Bucky or you hold him in a fantasy league, then you might be in for something nice midway through the season. The other story to do with this game is Jaden Daniels. He looked okay.
Yep.
I thought he was better than
I
solid.
thought he looked good.
Yeah. He had 3 fumbles, none were lost. But he did have his 2 TDs. He had
2 rushing TDs.
2 rushing.
two rushing TDs, 88 yards on the ground, 184 yards in the air. And so far, pick 2 is better than pick 1 again. We've only played one week.
Well, if we're looking for Rookie of the Year, offensive Rookie of the Year, yeah, he would
Jaden
be.
Daniels is in front at the moment.
You guys, why are
far.
you down on Williams? I don't really understand it.
I'm just saying so far, after
Right.
1 week.
Yeah, but there's a bit of malice in this.
There is, because watching him in college, he was a little bit, look at me, I'm Caleb Williams. And
Right.
he's a rookie. We're not going to go that hard on him. He's a rookie, it's his first year.
That hasn't stopped us before.
It doesn't. But he's got all the tools at the moment. He's got a good defense, all the tools on offense, and he threw 93 yards at less than 50% completion. So you can't tell me that he's playing well.
Well, again, it's 1 week,
So-
but there's just
Exactly,
this,
it's only 1 week.
there's this overall attitude that
I'm off
you're
him.
thinking Williams is a whiff or like a miss. It's just
Yeah, I'm
it's,
off him.
It's
It's my call.
Hawley's right off him.
He's not.
I'm not. But.
Look, if he starts to play well, I could adopt him as one of my boys.
Yeah, mid-year Hawley's heroes. You'll be.
I'm happy to admit a mistake, which I did with Cooper Cup. Said he was done, and when we review that game, we'll quite clear that Cooper Cup is not done.
Also, while we're talking about this stuff, we didn't mention it. Zeke Elliott, he had like 39 yards and a short touchdown. And you said, as you smashed the microphone in anger, you said, "Oh, which of you boys said Zeke was done?"
Well, at that stage, halfway through the
Yeah, and he put on 3 more
Second
yards
quarter.
for the day.
so he
I'm
didn't get any more touch. He had 32 yards on the ground, 9 in the air. So he had 41 and a TD halfway through the second quarter. And I was like, all right, we're moving here. If he keeps getting carries,
Zeke's not back, mate. Like he
well,
was
if
okay
got
for
the
a quarter
carries,
and a half.
if he gets carries, he's back.
Well, this is funny because Ant, one of our big Panthers fans, his gutsy call on Zeke for this year, he sent through to DMs, was to rediscover his form, 1,200 plus yards and 10 touchdowns, and he sent the message today, 1160 and 9 to go.
Okay,
So
he's on it. He's
he did
counting
run
down.
well.
Good
Watching
on you,
him, I
Ant.
thought he ran well. He didn't look sore. He didn't look tired. He looked powerful. He did have a couple of runs where at the end of it, he obviously needed a break.
Yeah.
But I think if,
We'll see
match
how he
fitness,
goes over the
yeah,
course of 18 weeks.
injuries
This
and
week.
things like that.
I just thought you went maybe a touch
I
early
did.
on the Zeke's back.
But
call.
if you doubled his stats, he ends up with 80 and 2
Yeah.
TDs. That's a good game.
But unfortunately,
we didn't double his
he
stats.
didn't. All right.
Anyway, where were we?
he's still
Sorry,
going.
mate. Scary
Oh, yeah.
Terry Doss was nowhere.
Nowhere. Not even mildly frightening.
If Kingsbury drew up a play where
Oh,
they
turn it
actually
up.
have him targeting and throw the ball to him.
Mate, McLaurin's just an absolute mid receiver.
Well, the problem that they have down there is that the leading receivers.
I've had enough. I've had enough of
The leading receivers.
Look at him with his little Chiefs cap on, Hawley, just sitting over there.
The leading receivers for Washington today were running backs Eckler and Robinson,
Robertson looked good though.
followed by Zach Ertz with 28 yards. So really, their leading receiver was a tight end with 28 yards. That is an issue for Washington. If they get down by a lot, you can't keep relying on throwing the ball to running backs. So they need to work out a way to get them in the game. I don't know. Throw to Scary.
Give us your
Contested. Baker gets my 5. Godwin gets my 2. Mike Evans gets my 3.
Sorry, what order are you doing this? You went 5, 2, 3.
Yeah, I did. Baker gets my 5. Godwin gets my 4. Mike Evans gets my 3. Jaden Daniels gets my 2.
Really?
Yeah. I like this game. Mate, he still had.
3 fumbles and didn't throw a touchdown.
Well, he didn't lose
getting
the
2
fumbles.
votes.
Ran
Didn't
for
lose
2.
the
Fourth best
fumbles.
player on the ground, was he?
Didn't lose the fumbles.
Yeah, but that's not up to him. That's just darn luck.
Oh, well, maybe
Okay.
he fumbled it correctly. And then I gave Rashad White a vote. He ended up with 106 yards.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot. I mean, there was scores, but it was kind of spread out.
No votes for O-liners yet, boys. We might have to change that.
Yeah,
later on.
I gave Joel.
Oh, you did too? Oh, you did. Hawley's the first guy
I've
to
got
give
one that
Oh.
will appear later as well.
Do I have
I'll
another
eat my
game to
words.
review later? Or did I give that to Doss?
No, you gave it to me.
Yeah, I gave
You
it
gave
to
it to
Doss.
us. All right, we'll be back in a second. All right, Doss, let's just calm down the madness here. You're going to just soothe us with Doss's trivia.
Okay. Do we have any music for
Yeah, we
trivia?
do. Ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
Do you want to
Oh, we
number?
got trivia. I
Yeah.
thought it was Doss's Dimes.
That's the Thursday show.
But he introduced
Right.
it in this show.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you
yeah,
did.
you said Doss's Dimes later on.
I did. My mistake.
So I can do
You know,
both.
that's a deliberate hook. Deliberate hook. Everyone who's just fanging for Doss's Dimes, now they have to wait 2 more days for it.
Hey,
But we got trivia. No, let's do trivia.
probably more relevant. We can swap it if you want.
No, I'm not editing this
Oh, okay.
out.
So,
Cannot be bothered.
last year, 5 players had over 35% of their team's total sacks.
Oh, okay,
Who
good.
were those 5 players?
Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack, 35%.
Max Crosby, TJ Watt.
No.
TJ Watt.
TJ Watt, 40. Yes.
Aiden Hutchinson.
No.
Kayvon Thibodeau. No.
No, he's 34%.
Oh, of course he was. Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Miles Garrett.
Nah.
Oh, gosh.
Frick.
Okay.
And we've got 2.
You got 2.
Greg Rousseau.
No. Even though Ed Oliver led the Bills
Oh,
last year in sacks.
Chris Jones.
No.
What?
Yeah.
Carl Aftis did too much. Okay. This is problematic now. Not TJ, not Garrett.
Yeah, TJ
TJ
Watt.
has
Oh,
it.
T- sorry, it was TJ. Trey Hendrickson.
Yes,
Bengals?
40%. Mm-hmm. He was third.
Oh, Daniil Hunter.
Yep.
Oh, my boy. I
Thought you'd get, so you got one left. The highest one at 44%.
The highest one at 44%. Oh, Michael Parsons.
No. He was down at
Ooh,
30%.
let's keep that song going.
Yeah, keep the music going.
Give us a conference.
AFC.
AFC. What do you got, Paulie?
I don't know.
It was a bit of a favourite on the pod last year.
Hassan Reddick.
Got a no. In the NFC. Oh, well,
sorry, I was
okay.
thinking Jets. Yeah,
sorry,
sorry.
he is still in the AFC at this point.
No, oh, Khalil Mack. Did we say Khalil Mack?
Said Khalil Mack.
Hawley did at the start.
Yeah. Okay. Give us a division. Come on, mate.
Well, now you'll get it. AFC South.
Jags. Oh, Josh Hines Allen.
Correct.
There we go.
44%.
Favourite. Oh, yeah,
Good
I
one,
suppose he
Doss.
was.
You crushed that, Hawley.
Yeah,
Only
thanks,
needed 2
mate.
hints. That's good. Probably have time for the dimes, but we've got some more games to review. All right, we just refreshed ourselves there, lads. Refreshed ourselves. We've got a little confidence boost, and we're into our last 3 game reviews. Now, we don't do the music for this because we take these ones a little slower because they're normally the games that have had a little bit of intrigue and, you know, just some crazy stuff happening.
A bit of juice in them.
bit of juice. We're all about the juice these
For your
days.
new
aren't we?
juice segment that you've lobbed in on the Daily Show.
Juiceometer. Did you like the juiceometer?
I haven't listened to it yet, actually.
When you saw the title, did you
I saw
think-
the title.
Did you think juiceometer or juiceometer? How would you have pronounced it?
No, I would have.
How do you spell it?
I've gone the American spelling of meter because I think
Or are you going juice Juice-O-meter.
Yes.
I would say Juice-O-meter.
Yeah, I would have said juice-o-meter then.
So are you saying juice? What are you trying to do?
How do you think I'm saying it?
Juiceometer.
Juiceometer.
Juiceometer, yeah. Juiceometer.
Thermometer. If you spell it
Thermometer.
like thermometer, but with a juice instead of therm.
But it's very hard to spell that because then there's an E and an O, so it looks like juiciometer, and it doesn't quite work. That's why I put the hyphens in. Well, hit us up, podcast@outbackqb.com. Is it juiceometer or juiceometer? In any case, check out the episode. Some of my finest work. The Cardinals and the Bills played off in an interesting game, boys. And one of my gutsy calls hinged on this. And we'll go through gutsy calls on Thursday just to see where we're at. Because
I think we just skip gutsy calls.
no, I think we need to go through them because there was some progress and not in the right direction for many of us. They just did okay. I said the Cardinals would be gutsy. I thought they would upset them. And I'll tell you what, when it was 17-3 their way, when I strolled out to my lounge room.
Well, that's when I was getting
morning.
messages and seeing Cardinals 17-3. I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here?
But you never
Buffalo.
rule out Josh Allen. He
Josh
was
took over, didn't he?
He was huge. 2 rushing touchdowns that were, typical tough, and then 2 passing touchdowns, including a great one with Khalil Shakir, who did all the work, twisting and turning and rotating on top of a defender, so he didn't touch the ground, and he got a touchdown. It was good to watch. Greg Rousseau, who I just guessed in that segment, we said he'd be big this year, Dos. You were on Rousseau. 3 sacks. What a start. So it's a confidence-building win for the Bills because, the big issue has been perceived to be, what's their receiving core like, but Shakir scored.
You've been very down on them, Kurt.
I have been,
I've
and I will
bullish.
continue to be.
Well, there still wasn't much there. I mean, you had James Cook, had 32 yards. Keon Coleman had 51 yards, who led.
4 and 51, which is a good start for a rookie.
It's
decent.
How that looks statistically is pretty much how I thought the Bills would go. It would be an even spread across.
I was just trying to move my hand and
I think you've hit every hittable item in the studio. There's only 3 and you've donged all of them.
I'm just a bit dehydrated. I can't concentrate properly, Joss. I usually have a
your
sparkling water, but Kurt obviously
fridge was turned off.
too busy today.
Budget cuts.
Too busy,
There was
busy today napping.
There was an unknown Shopify charge on the business account that I got to get to the bottom of, and once I do, you can have your water back.
Unknown Shopify account. But I think what we saw today is sort of what we expect from the Bills. The offense will be spread across. Obviously, Josh Allen we expect to run and dominate and score well, but the use of all his receivers fairly evenly. The run game has been big since Brady's come in as OC. So with James Collins, and that's typical. And then of course giving up this, the touchdown on special teams. That's pretty much what normally happens with the Bills as well.
Well, let's talk about that because it was the first kick return with a dynamic kickoff. The NFL would just be so pleased. DJ Dallas, 97 yards. It was electrifying from DJ, formerly of Seattle, DJ Dallas. Marvin Harrison, he was pretty much anonymous today. 1 catch on 3 targets for 4 yards. Obviously, no one panic. It's week 1, but we thought we'd see a bit more.
Kyler had him wide open too.
He did at the end and didn't see him, didn't use him. And the crowd was incredulous that they decided to target our man Greg Dortch on the last play. The Cardinals fans are going crazy. You got Harrison out there. Why did you go for Dortchy?
He did lead the group with 6 and 47. But that last play, man, you've got this guy called Trey McBride. Had a pretty good finish to the year last year. He's a monster of a human being. You threw to Greg Dortch.
But I thought Kyler was okay. I thought he was decent enough. Good with his, still showing that he's got some ability with his legs. Until that last moment, he was okay. And stats didn't blow the doors down, but
he still put 28 points up against Buffalo.
I know.
It's just the fact that Arizona's defense is really poor.
Yeah.
So Buffalo were able to put 34 points up.
So Josh Allen gets my 5. Greg Rousseau gets 4. DJ Dallas for that incredible run because there was started to drop off as far as performances after that. He gets 3. James Cook with 2, and Kyler Murray sneaks in for 1 because he
Greg
had a
Dortch.
decent.
Good.
Dortchy was unfortunate. If we were given 6,
he was
Dortchy,
there.
yeah. I have a feeling Dortch may finish 6th on a lot of votes this year. This year, just can't quite snag one. The Dorchmeister. So that's the Bills and the Cardinals. But Dos, I think the headline, well, not the headline, but the subplot that we are following is that whilst the Bills got their win, we're still not 100% convinced, and whilst the Cardinals lost, they were at least spunky, and that's what we hope to see from them, right? At least they had a crack and they were in this game. It's not like they got doors blown off.
Well, that's how the Cardinals finished last season. Yeah,
Correct.
they won a couple games towards the back end of last season once Kyler came back, but predominantly they were much more competitive in the second half of the season than what they were in the first half of the season, and that's what we wanted to see. We expected that their defense would concede a lot of points, and they did today, and a lot of yardage on both the pass and the run game, and that's going to be a continual battle this season until they can continue to draft more talent or bring some players in next off season. So they can make some adjustments. The Cardinals, I think they'll be a better team at home. On the road, like week 1, that's not a bad performance to do what they did against a team that I think will be a playoff team. So
we'll get a good read on the Bills. I mean, they've got the Dolphins, expect possibly a shootout.
Thursday
Jags,
night.
still not sure on them. But then they have the Ravens, Texans, and Jets. That group of 3 games will probably give us an idea of where the Buffalo Bills sit.
All right. It was a big AFC South clash between the Texans and the Colts. The Texans got a win 29-27 DOS on the road with Joe Mixon starring for his new club.
Entertaining game, this one. We love a divisional rival matchup. First up, week 1, Richardson versus Stroud, and now the Colts are 0-10-1 in their last 11 week 1 games.
Crazy.
The Texans dominated possession as well, fellas. 40 to 20 minutes in this game.
Well, that's pretty evident by the run game, isn't it?
Well, you just felt that the scores were somewhat close, and the Texans virtually led the whole game, but they just felt in control the whole game. Like, I didn't sort of see where the Colts could put together any sort of series of play. There was a few big plays from Anthony Richardson, a couple of deep throws, but outside of that...
Did you know who wasn't in control all day? Sorry, Hawley. And you made this point earlier. Was CJ Stroud. He came out clean, but he had 3 almost picks.
He threw 2 picks.
2
One of
on
them,
penalties.
the defender's toe was out of bounds, so that was reversed or incomplete, whatever you want to call it. And then obviously the penalty where it was a pick and there was a penalty. So
our boy Kenny Moore.
And he's not playing against an elite defense over here. Like where it's the Indianapolis Colts.
To be fair, the penalty was on Kenny Moore for holding. So when he got the advantage from his illegal hold, then took the pick. So I guess you can't really count that one. But there were a few hairy moments where we thought, okay, he's not as assured. But
he still had a very high completion rate.
Oh, he did.
CJ
He came out of it well. And, penalties don't count. So we can't knock him for that. I'm just making the point that there were a few moments where we thought, oh, okay.
If they're a meter the other way or half a meter the other way, then he ends up with 2 or 3. But that's why.
But this is
he did.
Yeah, this was Houston, who very dynamic on the pass game last year, and the run game struggled abysmally, averaged about 3.3 yards per carry. Whereas today, they went for 213 on the ground at 5.3 yards per carry, and Joe Mixon, who you mentioned, just a lazy 178 from scrimmage there, who they traded for a 7th round pick. From the Bengals to get him. And Nico Collins, again, shows why he deserved his contract extension in the offseason and why many have him as a top 10 receiver in the league. That's 3 games in a row now against the Colts where he's gone well over 100 yards. He loves playing the Colts. Made some awesome contested catches as well, Kurt.
Sorry, on the Joe Mixon thing, before we move on, I've actually got an unreleased episode of the Outback QB Daily that I was waiting for a filler episode if I couldn't do it on a day. And it was 4 underrated running backs from last year. And Joe Mixon, put in there.
Too late now.
And it's too late now. I can't release it. And I was having my doubts going, am I right about that? And people are going to chop us up and think
I've
that's
always
a terrible
liked
call.
Joe Mixon. He always pops up with 1 or 2
dominates.
unbelievable games, but then just Cincinnati style.
Was it last year he had the 4 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Year before.
Or the year
I
before,
think,
2022,
But
was
just
it?
Cincinnati just somehow seems to just doesn't have the year you expect from him. And then he comes out now with Houston, who we expect to have a good offense.
And if anybody was looking at Damian Pierce, fantasy owner, going, this could be the year he bounces back. 16 yards. He's
Sorry,
good.
mate.
You're in trouble. Anthony Richardson, we'll look at the Colts side now. 2 big time throws, one to Alec Pierce and one to Ashton Dulin. But
are we talking about big time throws? Is that what we're calling them? Because there was one to Alec Pierce, which was a genuine contested grab. It was thrown up and it was...
Well, it is a big time throw. The catch was made.
Well, the catch was made, but it was underthrown. It was made because Alec Pierce won. It was a scary Terry contested grab. It wasn't a good throw.
I understand your point, but...
It could have gone... If the defender was better, then he intercepts it.
All right.
There was another one that was thrown. It was an awesome throw, which was thrown out the front in stride.
Yeah, that was Doolin.
Yeah.
That was the Dulin one.
That was Doolin one. But the Pierce one, that was in the 4th quarter?
I think that was early.
No, that was early in the game.
No, there was one late in the game where it was a genuine contested grab, and I was like, well...
That was
No, Pierce had 2. Pierce had
that
2.
was the second one.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. That Pierce second one was just pure luck.
Yeah. Well, as I said, but outside of those 2 significant completions or big time throws. When I say big time, I mean by yards, Hawley. I don't mean necessarily by
Talent.
talent. But look, Anthony Richardson did struggle with accuracy. 9 of 19 for the game, threw a pick, and those two larger throws, which was my original point, kind of bump his yardage stats up a little better than probably what they were. But I did like that big run he made in the fourth quarter. Took the hits into the end zone, dropped the shoulder, fought his way in. Jonathan Taylor was quiet today, really struggled, 16 carries at 48 yards. He got a touchdown that was after a turnover. And then Michael Pittman Jr., who I'm also big on for my gutsy calls for the first month, he was largely not targeted and really struggled. Richardson had AD Mitchell open a couple of times and was unable to hit him, and there were throws that you'd kind of like to see him make. So that wasn't great. And in terms of votes, Kurt, I've gone Joe Mixon with the 5. I've still given CJ Stroud 4.
Yeah, I think it's fair. You can only go on what actually happened, right? Possibilities.
The picks happened, but they didn't count, so they weren't.
Yeah,
picks,
so they cancel out. Nico Collins with the 3 for his 117 yards, 6 receptions. Alec Pierce with the 2. And Stephon Diggs, I gave 1. He had the 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns,
and played his role. But one
of those touchdowns was a gutsy call from D'Amico Ryans to go for it on 4th.
4th, yeah,
and
that's
6.
right. Yeah.
Late, got it done.
Yeah, so this is what we expected from the Texans. Offense looking dynamic. It looks even more dynamic now with the run game. The O-line just has to stay healthy. They were banged up so much last year. I think their starters only played about 25% of total snaps together. So if their O-line stays healthy and their defense gave up some big plays, which they did a bit last year too. So we'll see how they go on the secondary. But I'm bullish. It was a good game.
All right, Dos, you got one more, and that's the Lions and the Rams, which was late. Went to overtime, 26-20 win for the Lions. David Montgomery came up big late for Detroit.
He did in overtime, and the Lions, again, this was another one where they felt in control of the game for the first half or 2/3 of the game. Defense was holding the Rams tight. They were running the ball well with Montgomery and Gibbs. They finished up 163 yards between them at 5.3. Goff looked okay, did enough. Like he wasn't his best.
Vintage Goff.
And the Lions led 17-3, and you sort of thought, the Rams were struggling. And then Puka went down with a knee injury in the first half. He didn't return, so that's now a concern. We'll find out probably tomorrow or when this episode comes out what the result of that is.
I tell you who did have a good day, and that is Jamison Williams had his breakout day.
Didn't he?
Finally, 5 receptions, 121, and a big TD.
He looked very good, and he was even involved in a nice little sweep.
It's finally paying off.
He looked very good, and because Amon-Ra St. Brown was well covered today. Goff couldn't find him open at all. Matt Stafford, I thought, had a very, very good game. His O-line was banged up. Steve Avila, your boy, Kurt, he was out the game with an injury. But
just my boy because I happen to know his name.
Yeah.
That's how you get
That's
boys.
That's how you get him.
Yeah, that's how you get them. Like Teddy Bridgewater.
We need to bring back the stringent rules around the My Boys segment. Remember that? We had that for a reason. It's gone.
4 starters out on the O-line, though,
Jeez.
and a lot of rotation happening there. And Aiden Hutchinson was an absolute menace all game. He smashed Stafford, and Stafford was copping hits, low hits as well, copped a couple chop blocks almost to the knees, and he was still making clutch throws. He got the Rams back into the game. Cooper Kupp wound the clock back a little bit. This is what we wanted to see, Hawley. 14 receptions, 110 yards. Lions rookie corner, Terry and Arnold and Carlton Davis, who they got from Tampa Bay, they couldn't cover Cooper. He looked really nice.
Are we still pretty upset about these overtime rules?
Yeah.
That game, the Rams came back pretty hard there, and they probably should have won the game in normal time.
I'd like to see both teams have a crack at it.
They deserved a chance to go have their possession and try to win the game.
It just makes no sense that it's different for playoffs.
Makes no sense at all.
So Matt Stafford, he said, was pretty good. You know who wasn't great today? Matt Stafford's mum.
Oh.
Well, we have to stop interviewing family members and having the mic on them in the crowd. It is the most cringeworthy, boring content I've ever seen. Remember when it was Aiden Hutchinson's dad, week 1 last year, and he calls his own son Hutch? Yeah. He calls his own son Hutch. He named him Aiden, but calls him Hutch.
That's a good point.
That's like someone in your family calling you Hawley.
Dad used to.
Did he?
I think so. If I was running, he'd sit on the sideline. Would he yell out,
Maybe
"Come
it's
on,
a
Chris"?
sports dad
Or
thing.
he'd, "Come on, Hawley."
Maybe it's a
I
sports
think
dad
he would possibly say Hawley because everyone else would call me Hawley. So then
Right.
I'd
So he's fitting.
done
Oh
it
my
again. Jeez, what's going on here?
God. Do you need a break? Do you need to have a nap?
Fidgety.
We've got the relaxation corner over
Been
there.
up since 4, a bit tired. He used to say Hawley. I think it's because everyone else would call me Hawley, so I would react to it. Whereas Chris would be. But you still think you've been named Aiden your whole life. You'd react to Aiden.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Anyway, we digress. Doss, anything else to add to
Well,
the game other than Margaret Stafford's performance?
Yeah, no. We saw the first game for the Rams without Aaron Donald.
Yep.
And the Detroit O-line, which I think is the best in the NFL, just bullied them really. They
Still 2 sacks.
yeah, it was all right, but in terms of the run game though, they
Demont was
they
good,
just
wasn't he?
created holes for Montgomery to run through, especially when it counted that final drive of the game. That was most
No
critical.
overtime drive. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good effort on the road, though, for the Rams. I don't think they'd be disappointed. They'd be disappointed with the Puka injury, clearly, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it's not too bad. But he went, it was a non-contact injury, which are never good for the knee. So, look, I went 5 votes for Jamison Williams. I went 4 for Aiden Hutchinson, 3 for Cooper Kupp, 2 for David Montgomery, and 1 for Penei Sewell.
Left Staff out.
I did, yeah.
Talked him up. Thought you were going to chuck him in.
I know. I was trying to get him in there.
Cup had 21 targets.
Yeah, he was
21.
Tied his career 14 receptions, career high.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. All right, well, that's 15 of 16 games. Of course, tomorrow. Well, when does this come out? Today is Jets at 49ers. I'll review that later today.
Good
on
game.
Who's your
the
tip, Hawley?
Outback QB Daily.
Can't make a tip in that.
No?
Niners, defense, and Jets. I'll back Jets.
Yeah, go the Jets.
I'm backing the Jets.
Come on, Jets. Come on, A-Rod. Oh my gosh.
Bryce
I'm
and
so
Garrett.
excited. That review is in the Outback QB Daily coming out later today, so make sure you get on that. And later in the week, I'm going to put all these MVP votes together and just see where we sit, see who our 16 top guys
16
are.
top
for the week.
5s.
Yeah. All right, we'll be back in a sec. Win totals coming up. Fellas, we did our win total draft for a competition between the three of us. We did that a month or so ago, and we ended up with 10 teams each. We excluded who we thought was consensus the best team, Kansas City, and consensus the worst, which was Carolina.
Dos got his pat, so I wasn't happy about it.
Wasn't
and
happy.
Here we go.
Boy, here we go.
Knock off our Super Bowl favourite.
We're week 1.
Let's start from the bottom, shall we? Because at
Super
time
Bowl
of
favourite.
at time of recording, the San Francisco and Jets game hasn't happened yet, so we're a game short. But this is where we sit. Holy, you're third of 3.
Brilliant.
You're 4 and 5, sitting at 44%. I am 5 of 5. New Orleans was a surprise win for me. The Green Bay loss hurt. Holy, yours was a smattering of just bizarre results.
What were they?
Atlanta was your 3rd team picked, and they lost.
Yeah.
And then the Rams and the Jags didn't help you. And then you got a win with Seattle. Yeah, and then you had Las Vegas and Washington. So you're 4 and 5. I'm 5 and 5. Dos, you're 6 and 3. What a start.
Dos.
6 and 3. Although San Fran, your highest team, hasn't played yet. And Cincy, your second highest team that you took, they lost. But then you got on a nice run with Houston, Buffalo, the Chargers, and the Steelers. And like we said, the Minnesota, but especially the New England wins have just rocketed you up the leaderboards.
Well, he had Cincy anyway, so it didn't matter. So he's getting a win out of New England.
Oh, that's
Cincy
true.
Game,
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have
that's
really-
true.
Yeah.
All right. It just makes it look funnier.
It does. Yeah.
It just makes it look funnier when Cincy go like 2 and 15.
Yeah.
So Dos, early lead. 6 wins to you, 5 to me, 4 to Hawley with a game to play. Boys, that's the show. Now, we've revisited the win totals. We're going to revisit Gutsy Calls on Thursday. We've also got the Week 2 preview coming up, and we're also going to have Doss's Dimes. We will have it on Thursday, not today's show. And we've been talking a little bit about some events, some Muscle Cat Media events for the Outback Quarterback podcast. We know we're doing the Super Bowl show, but we're just going to brainstorm a few ideas for show number 2, and that'll be on Thursday. So make sure you tune in, and we'll see you all in 2 days' time.
See you, fellas.
Bye, guys.